Coming on. All right, so we are rolling. Hey guys, we are live at your host of All Things Crab. We're at the DC Men and ECE conference, you guys, the second annual. I'm super excited because this is my actually first time, and I'm here with none other than
Kamren Rollins.
Now y'all know, out of all the DC men in ECE, Kamren is the one I know the most. We go way back in this workforce development realm, I should say, in DC. And in DC, it's a tight-knit community in workforce development. So it's like we kind of see some of the same players, they just kind of change teams.
100%.
So, just a quick background, you guys, on how I know Kamren. I actually met Kamren through Dr. Gutlin, and it was a full circle moment because when I met you, I met you over the phone, and then I came to see you over at Southeast Children's Fund, and I was excited because I had been working with Southeast Children's Fund for years. I was a referral partner working with Tanetta Merritt, and we was cooking over there. I mean, we had, and it's so funny that one of the first referrals I had over there was a guy, and he had gotten a CDA and everything, and he was volunteering for Sunshine, and everybody was like, why isn't he working there? He kept the internship, you know, when you have to go through the internship piece with the CDA, and he just never stopped doing it.
Wow.
And he was a single dad, and everybody was telling me, like, why do you have him there volunteering? Why doesn't he just, you know, work there? So I had that's kind of sparked my whole men in ECE, you know, interest, because I was wondering why. And when I got to talk to him, he was a little apprehensive. He was working like 40 hours, but he wasn't interested in being an employee.
Wow.
So I had to really sit down and talk to him, and he was just saying how he liked the freedom that he had with volunteering. But what I had to talk to him about, I think he felt like he didn't want to commit fully because he felt like, he said his energy was for his son. So what I was able to do was talk to him about the beauty of that with his son. But I was like, think about how many kids don't have the youth in their life. You know?
100%.
I was like, you should do it.
100%, yep.
And guys, he did it. Everybody was like, how did you get him to do it? I said, I had to talk some sense into that man because he's already doing it.
Yeah.
And they were happy to have, you guys were happy to have him. I was like, wow. So fast forward to today, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's a honor just seeing where it's come, right? And then just hearing more about the history of like just men in the field and how many people have made space, right, and created space for men to be in the field, but also for them to come to the field, recruited, then retain, develop, and advance. It's been so many people that have played parts in different spaces, in different areas. So to come in and to be just a part of this work is transformative, is amazing. And I'm excited for where it's going, right? Like I think we are collectively building a lot of momentum towards change and shifting what the narrative is around like what the field looks like and what the field can look like, and open up opportunities for men it's truly amazing, right?
Yeah.
And it just creates an environment where I think it creates a holistic early child education environment.
Yeah. And that's why, like, when I first met you, when I came over to the Southeast Children's Fund, and he gave me the full tour, y'all. We was up there. I was overstepping over kids. I was in the kitchen messing with everybody. Like, it was a real tour. And one thing that I loved, that I saw a lot of men in the classrooms. I mean, they were on the floor. It wasn't just, as Jamal say, moving boxes. Jamal like, we not just moving boxes, you know, driving the van. We actually educating children, nurturing children. And I saw that. I saw a man in the kitchen making a bottle. I was like, you saw that? I was like, I love this. My sister used to work there too. I told you, I referred so many people there.
No, it's fine.
Because it was a great way to help people to get their CDA.
Yeah.
Because back in those days, you didn't need a CDA, but I understood the value of the CDA. So I would always push people over to the program. And I love that, not only that the neighborhood you guys are in, but how you guys kind of dominate that neighborhood. Like,
right.
It's like territory type of deal. And it's like everybody knows.
Yeah.
Like, if you know, you know. Like, you in there, you know who's running it. And just in the school, across the street, how you guys work with them. It was just a good environment when I went. Just seeing the energy, just even in the parking lot with the parents and everything. And then the place is huge.
It's
It's huge.
quite large, yeah. it's quite large.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's been an amazing journey, and like I think one of the things that I'm reminded so often is, I walked in the classroom, and typically when I'm at the site, I'm dressed in like suits. Yeah. So I walked in the classroom early on, in my career at Southeast Children's Fund Sunshine Early Learning Center, and one of the young boys, one of the young children in the classroom, he was a male student, he came up to me, and we started talking, and then he just started counting. And his teacher looked over at me like surprised. She was like, he's never done that.
Wow.
Not in the classroom. But like for me, what that is just a representation of, it's a representation of what happens when there is proper representation in spaces.
Yep.
And it opens the door for a different type of interaction, and just create space where like everyone can feel like they have an opportunity and access, and even young children can feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sticks out to me even to this day. So
I love that, and then that whole identity, like seeing yourself, seeing images of people who look like yourself. And when I came to Southeast Children's Fund, I expected you to be in like the regular childcare garb. You know, they usually have maybe the scrubs on, or like maybe a 3-button shirt and some khaki something. This man was fully suited and booted down with glasses. And the thing is, you still look young now, but you look super young now. You look like you was like 18, 19 when I met you. You was super little, like I was so impressed though, because even though you had this young guy look, like I could just easily see you in a hoodie too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I never saw you in a hoodie.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, when you think of someone that you look like a common male, like that you would see in any type of environment. But a lot of times you don't see them in that environment, in the education space. It's definitely not in the suited and booted space. You might be the gym teacher, so you got the sweats and the 3-button, and then you like blowing the whistle, you know, but you don't see you coming in there like, all right, everybody, you know, hi, I'm Kamren, you know, just representing yourself. And the maturity, when I got to really have a conversation with you, I was just so impressed. I was like, go ahead, auntie. Like,
to be honest, I did it, and I do it specifically, right? Like I do it intentionally. I was reminded, being in early child education, it's my first, second, and third grade teacher was the same person, and it was a black male.
Really?
He stayed with us from first grade to third grade.
What was that like though? Because that's kind of unheard of.
It's unheard of, and for me though, it was normal.
Yeah.
Right, and then because this was the only experience that I knew, but it wasn't until I like grew in the field that I started to see like, no, this is odd. Like you don't often have this, but he dressed in a suit every day. Yeah. Right, and like the impact that had on me was like, oh, I could do it, and it was different than what I saw. Like I hadn't seen that where I grew up, so. For me, it was just like, okay, how can I recreate this and allow everybody in the building, from the staff to the young students, to the children, see that like all aspects of what a young man could be, a man could be, and how they could choose how they want to be. But,
I love that you said that, because representation is the piece, but also the whole piece about professionalism. One thing that I was big on when I was in workforce development was the professionalism piece, which is, listen, I'm not trying to be like that, but in ECE, that's not always the case, because it's surrounded by kids. It's a lot of looseness, I should say. Even just the way you dress, you want to be comfortable, because I don't even think scrubs are comfortable because they don't stretch. They do now, but I like stretch, just by the way. But I'm thinking about, you know, they look for you to look more like a nurse than a teacher. I mean, when I grew up, like you said, in the schools, I didn't go to preschool. I went straight to kindergarten or whatever. So, you know, the teachers dressed up. And that's what I thought teachers were supposed to do. So when you see it in early child education, I feel like that level of respect for the teachers in the streets don't really be there, because they don't put education as a priority.
I agree.
You know, it's, even though when you think about how powerful education is, it's not a glamorous field. You know, like if you were a singer. Singing is lovely. It reaches people's soul. It changes lives. It can pull you out of depression. Great. But when it's not like, it's here versus education being here, so it's not a glamorous thing. So that's another thing, that the perception of being in ECE is not even feel professional, doesn't feel make you feel glamorous. You know what I mean? So how do we bring that. There's a lady that I follow on Instagram. I can't think of her name right now, but she's a childcare diva, she's childcare something. But whatever it is, she's wearing boas and stuff. And she said, who says that you gotta dress down when you got a childcare business? She comes in here with her little outfits and stuff. And I said, damn girl, you made childcare look fabulous. And she said, childcare is fabulous. And I was like, wow, I just love that, you know, her putting that image out, because it's not for everybody, but you can make it your own. You bring your own personality into it. And that's what people really cling to.
Yeah, I think that's what it's about. Right? It's like, how can I go about this interaction, or how can I come into this space and make it my own, but also like create what may not be, create an impact where there may be gaps.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and like, for instance, that's what I saw. It's like, okay, where can I fill the gaps, and how can I tell these stories? How can I be a representation, like, for the folks that come in my center, whether they be from families to staff members or the young children, but also for outside individuals that aren't in the field. How can I tell the full stories about the impact that we made here, or even the research as in the data, right? Like, those are important conversations. Those are important things, and I think as we own our stories, we give space for others to see us in a different light. I think it's just really important.
And that's why I love to do this, you guys. These interviews, the Craft Cafe, is because it's the unsung heroes, amplifying those voices that rarely get heard, and they're there. They're all, and it's I call it a quiet rumble. Like, it's there, you hear it. It's just nobody's really talking about it. So sometimes you gotta just go ahead and put that mic. What you say, and that's what I want to be able to do, because as a person who I have worked in centers, I worked in DCPS 3 years. Like, I taught reading. I've always taught children. I've always been around children. I have my own children, and then I have my own little weekend program I do with the bigger kids. So I know that it's so funny. Like, I always say that when I meet somebody that's well invested in this industry, I'll say thank you for answering the call, because this is the thing. So many people get called every day, and they will look at that phone like, it's too hard. I don't got time for that. I'm not trying to give up my evenings, or I don't, you know, there's all of these excuses for why you don't want to answer your calling, but you know it's calling you, because I feel like this is an industry that you do not choose. It chooses you. Like, you know, the people who choose it, they ain't for real anyway. Like, because the ladies that were just here earlier, they were talking about there's people who come into the industry because they're opportunists. They feel like, oh, you can make a lot of money doing that, and it's probably easy, and they'll get into it. And they're not caring about the kids, and not caring about the parents or the community. They just really want that money. And okay, I can't imagine you for money, but this ain't the money grabbing type of industry. What we're dealing with is I don't even want to say delicate. It's just intricate, and it's so important. Like, when I think of the resources of the world, you know, we're talking about we need gold, we need water, we need all of these things. But what do we need all of that for if the children is not a priority?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think of my soul, like, when I get like old and I'm getting my wheelchair, I'm like, I don't want no crazy people running this place. We gotta make sure that the people that are coming up under us, they're gonna have to take care of this world, this planet, our families without us. So how do we plant that seed in them? And it starts with us. I feel like we have to be, like you said, they see what you're doing there. They're gonna watch you, and they're gonna, what they say, kids don't do what you say, they do what you do.
Yes.
So we have to be the ones to stand up and say, no, this is not right. We need more of this, we need less of this, and really band together. And that's why I love what was happening now. And I had the women come over like, so I'm like, do you guys have any men in your program? I'm like, well, no. So I'm like, well, what's up with that? They said, well, we don't get the applicants. And I was like, okay, I can't say nothing about that, because that's true. That's why these conferences like these, Kamren, is so important, because not only are you guys saying that these opportunities are out there, you are providing a pathway to these opportunities, and then a sustainable track to keep them there and keep them growing. And that's amazing.
Yeah,
you know?
I think I have to say, what DC is doing in general as it relates to like policy and legislation, and ensuring that one, individuals have the opportunity to get pay equity, so get paid on par with the early child educators that are maybe at DC public schools and their counterparts. But then also, because to be able to access pay equity, you have to have the minimum education requirement. So you're a CDA, associate's, or bachelor's.
Yeah, that's expensive.
So it's expensive. Yeah. So DC also provides through Southeast Children's Fund, we provide the DCP Education Scholarship, and that full tuition for individuals, or pays for full tuition for individuals that are seeking it. But what I'm getting to is that there's a pathway and there's a movement in DC that allows for individuals to now access pay equity, but also access a free education to be able to do so. And I think what that allows for us to do as it relates to recruitment, and now bringing those young men from high school, right, introducing them to the field, or young men from middle school, introducing them to the field, is pivotal. Because, you know, growing up, I didn't want to be in early child education. That wasn't my lane.
What did you want to do?
I wanted to be a lawyer and a judge in the Supreme Court.
Really?
Yep, that was
see
my.
You beyond of your approach
Yep,
the bench.
that was my thing, and I, you know, it wasn't until I was interning at Southeast Children's Fund, and it was like a summer academy. As I was teaching young children, not just around like arithmetics and things of that nature, but just how to be good people. And there was one child, and I saw when the light bulb went off in his head, it was just like, oh, he got it. Simultaneously, it went off in mine. I'm like, no, this is it.
This is it. See,
So,
that's that call, because you got the call. You didn't have to pick that phone up. You could have just been like,
very easy, like,
that's cool. Next, Your Honor. So, you leading the witness. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh man, and that's so crazy because, like I said, even though I was into business development and workforce development, at first for me it was about just helping people find jobs.
Yeah.
You know, because I know how it is. I've been laid off so many times in my life where I had to figure it out. Denied unemployment and things like that. So I became like a professional job seeker. But what that, it showed me all the gaps, and it showed me from a business perspective, but then it showed me from as a job seeker, what are the things that I was doing, I don't want to say wrong, but that was just missing the mark. You know, and then it started to make me think that, it made me realize that it's not just a job. You have the opportunity to choose where you apply to. So like all this whole, I hate my job, why? Why do you go for that job if you know that's not what you want to do? So it gave me a tool to evaluate in a different way. So it wasn't a skills assessment. It was more of a personality assessment to match you with what is a good environment for you. And I use that same formula when I was sourcing for childcare businesses, because now, because I have my sister, you know, grew up in my sister's childcare business, now I'm a mom, so my stake in childcare started to grow even larger. So now it's personal. You know what I'm saying? It's always been personal, but now it's super personal because you got my babies in there. If you're working at Walmart, you know, the customers come in, they feel like
coming
right?
out.
But if you're working at a center, the customers, that is really the parents, but really the children, you know what I mean? They don't have nobody to say, okay, this is good, this is bad. I mean, they have the people in there, but I'm talking about overarching when they're thinking about who's gonna be in there with them. And I was like, this forced me to change the way I look at business. It forced me to change the way I look at just workforce development as a whole. And it helped me to shape how I matched people. And not just be thirsty for a match. You know what I mean? Because of course, you work with anything with DC government, the numbers, they don't play about the numbers. So it gives you that chip on your shoulder that's like, okay, let's get this. And I threw that chip right away because I was like, this is the real people's lives. This is the real children that's going to be affected by this. I don't care if the numbers are not there. If they're not a fit, they're not going over it. And I stood on that. You know what I mean? And I'm so glad that I did, because I see so many people that have entered into the business, that still in the business, people that have been able to open their own centers. So it just makes me proud, you know? And I see the impact it is on the kids, like you said, when they grow up. Because my kids, I have two 13-year-olds and a 16-year-old going on 17. They're all in DC public schools. And I see the impact that them being in childcare had on just their whole, the way they see school, the way they deal with their friends. and that kind of thing, which is not always there when you don't have that type of, you know, get out your mama's house and, you know, go to another place and share with other kids that ain't your sisters and brother. It teaches you something about life, and that person, you know, now is entering this field of everything, and now you have a hand in that. So I feel like that is like just a proud moment.
You have got me over here thinking. So the class that I was talking about is in the summer academy when I was interning, when I was like my senior year of high school. I think 2 years ago now, one of the children in that class, she ended up coming back and interning as a, so it's just the cyclical, the nature of the things, but it's the impact, right? Like,
and that's what you
when
want.
you make strong impacts, you open the door for more people to even be welcome into the field because they remember the pathway you set them on. So 100%,
I love that. So Kamren, what's next? Because we talk about career path and things like that. Where do you want to go from here? Like, well, tell us where you are now, because like I said, I met you so many years ago. I don't even know exactly what your title is now. Like, what is that? We don't even talk about that part. We can talk about the movement. What about you? Like, what's going on with Kamren?
So I serve as Kamren Rollins. I serve as the Chief Operating Officer for Southeast Children's Fund. We're a nonprofit celebrating our 30th anniversary in a couple of days, actually.
What do you do for that?
So we have a full year of events. We're going to celebrate it throughout the entirety of the year. So
okay, well, I'll wait for my invite.
Oh no, of course, you're first on the list. We got you. No, but seriously, we got you. So we do workforce development, early child education, and adult education, and then I also serve as the president of the Black Child Development Institute of Washington D.C. So there we do work connected with the National Black Child Development Institute around the 8 outcomes. So from health, education, really looking at what are the standards that Black children need in order to set them up not only to survive but to thrive and have long-term opportunities for development and access to success.
I love that. Wow. So that's the heavy lift anyway. Wow. I love that though. So with everything with all the centers, the education and all that, and then the Black Child Development Leadership, how does that fall with men in ECE? Is that separate or is that in addition? Like, how does that work? Is it like all in the same time?
It's an addition, but interestingly enough, you know, DC is small, especially
it's small and big.
It's small and big. Exactly, small big. So it connects in a way. So it's like the work that I do with Southeast Children's Fund. So one of the outcomes or the goals for men in ECE is advancement. And advancement is looking at what are opportunities or pathways for individuals in ECE to be able to get their CDA, their other degrees. That's directly tied into some of the work that I'm doing with Southeast Children's Fund. So that at least checks off some of what I'm able to bring to men in ECE. And for BCDI DC, that's the work is framed around ensuring that we have representation inside and outside of classrooms. So it directly ties into men in ECE as well. So it's an addition, but in many ways the work overlaps.
I love that. So you just got octopus hands everywhere and everything.
Well, like you said, in many ways, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of work, but it doesn't always feel, it's work that I enjoy. Right? Like, and it's with community, it's with folks that and it's like, it just makes the work that much more creative, and it's taxing because it is heavy.
It is.
But it's a beautiful thing. I wouldn't sacrifice it for the work.
I love that. Well, Kamren, thank you for spending time over here at the Craft Cafe on location, because the Craft Cafe go wherever I go, y'all. Y'all know we're virtual, so we done had the Craft Cafe in Africa, we had it in Puerto Rico, we take the Craft Cafe wherever. And this is just, like I said, we want to make sure that we're amplifying those voices. So tell them how they can get involved with you, like in touch with you, social media, what should they do? Okay, so
I'm most active on LinkedIn, so it's Kamren, Kamren, Rollins, Rollins on LinkedIn. Please feel free to reach out to me. If you have questions, want to connect, or want to learn more about any of the work that we're doing at BCDI DC, Mini ECE, or Southeast Children's Fund, please feel free to reach out.
All right, y'all. And listen, if you want to go back and rewatch all of the Craft Cafes, if you're not a member, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's the Craft Cafe Live Show 332. And if you're a craft member, if you're not a craft member, you need to be one. But if you are a craft member, then you can catch them on the Craft Plus app that you guys all have, okay? That you can catch all our past classes and our past episodes of the Craft Cafe and articles and stuff like that right there. So we're gonna let him get back to work because we are in the middle of a conference, but we're excited to be here, and definitely check out the DC Men ECE conference. Y'all better be here next year.
Be here next year.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.